We're honored to have with us today Professor Stuart Elliott, who leads the OECD's, I would say, most innovative and inspiring program. The project is very relevant to our conference today and is titled AI and the Future of Skills. Stuart's team in the OECD explores how rapid advances in artificial intelligence are already reshaping the skills people need in a highly competitive workforce of today. They look at how AI systems perform on tasks from international assessments. So, Stuart, Dr. Elliott, thank you for joining us and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. It's great to have a chance to talk about these important topics.
Great. We kindly appreciate it. So my first obvious question would be about AI, namely ChatGPT, Gemini, and their friends. Are they already doing better on PISA than the 15-year-olds in Singapore? Do they do better on the skills that humans used to do better, such as reasoning, modeling, creativity, solving real-life problems? Are we doomed?
So that's multiple questions.
Yeah.
But let me start with the easy one, which is the comparison between these programs and the sorts of standardized tests that we use to understand how well people are able to do the things that are often difficult for people to do. It's the case that when ChatGPT was released 2.5 years ago, that it actually already outperformed average 15-year-olds on two of the three core domains in PISA, on the reading and the science domains, not yet the math domain. So it took another year for
Oh,
progress in ChatGPT until it outperformed average 15-year-olds on math. And you can still see in the tests that are done with different types of standardized tests around the globe, that in some cases, the programs do not do as well as people are able to do. But now the kinds of tests that are being used for these comparisons are really ones that are sort of quite bizarre in an everyday context. So for example, there's a test that's called a Google proof test, which actually looks at the kinds of advanced questions that PhD recipients are able to answer in their domain of specialty. And in those areas as well, these programs are now able to outperform those experts. Although at the same time, there are also places where the systems don't perform well, where they will suddenly hallucinate, and you need to have a way of working with them that works around those errors that crop up here and there. So one of the things that we clearly need to figure out is how to use these programs, when to use them, because it's not obvious. It's not just like working with another person who is really bright and is able to do things that we can't do.
so as a subset question, what's going on here? A competition between human and artificial intelligence evolving, or some sort of trying to reach a necessary sort of division of relative advantages? They do the math, we do the ethics, or maybe some sort of a new collaboration between humans and machines. How do you see this evolving?
Well, so what we've been looking at the OECD is trying to get a sense across all of the different kinds of things that people do. And usually the reaction that people have is, "Oh, you're just focused on the competition, and you're just focused on ways that the systems can replace us." And my answer to that is that we want to look at everything. And the areas where AI can't perform as well as people, that's what people should be doing now. And so it's a it's a complement up until the point where it's a substitute. So at the point when the programs are able to do everything with respect to a particular task or a particular occupation, then at that point you might well expect, if we're comfortable in using the AI systems, that we will instead use them because they'll be objectively better than we are. But up until that point, there'll be things that we can do better than the programs. And so the key thing is for us to learn how to work with them.
Looking ahead, and when you analyze the current, tech revolution, and if you were able to design a curriculum for the future generation to determine what our children would learn in schools so they are better prepared? What would be at the top scale of your knowledge and know-how and character traits and values? What should we teach them in school today so that are prepared for their future?
So a couple decades ago, I ran a program at the National Academy of Sciences in the US on testing and assessment. And we had a conversation one time. So that was during a period where standardized assessments were being required across schools in the US. And one of the experts said, If I had the choice of only one question to ask a student about math, I would ask that student whether or not he or she likes math. And if the answer is no, you've lost.
The answer is no.
If the answer is no, then you've
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we're very focused often on these tests and sort of formal things about what students are learning. But if they're not enjoying what they're learning, and if they don't feel compelled about it and find that it's interesting, they're not going to keep doing those things, and they're not going to be drawn to them, and they're not going to contribute to them as adults in meaningful ways. So it's actually that I would focus on most most particularly. And one of the things that actually concerns me.
I'm a long distance runner and I see the people running next to me, not sure that they are enjoying themselves at the same time, but still they're doing it because of some other benefits that they have.
Well, in the happiness research, there are two different ways of measuring happiness. So one is sort of moment by moment. Are you enjoying this
Right.
moment? But the other is how do you feel about your accomplishments in your life? Are you satisfied with them? Do they fill you with joy? And so you could, in the long distance runner case, perhaps not be enjoying it in the moment, but be pleased with yourself about how you're doing.
Yeah. I think it was Aristotle who said that you could really get your meaning of life only when it ends. So yeah, probably.
Maybe a
So
bit before, but
yeah. So you interact with the global community of educators, of people who are interested in these topics, and there are countries taking the lead on engaging AI in their education systems and thinking very thoroughly about the skills that need to be cultivated. What do you learn from these countries? What do they tell you about their experience? How are they making progress? What are the obstacles they face? What should we look at the horizon?
I think the I think the most important thing that I've learned from the little bit that I've done in observing what other countries are doing in struggling with these issues is that it's important to be nuanced about how you react. So you don't want to just exclude the technologies from the classroom, but you don't necessarily want to use them for everything. And so you sort of have a clear-eyed sense of why are students learning to do this particular thing? Why are they care? What are they trying to accomplish by carrying out a particular instructional task? And in some cases, you want them to learn enough about the thing that AI will already be able to do that you don't want AI just to be doing it for them. And so in that case, they should be doing it on their own. But in other cases, you actually want the students to be engaged in a much more sort of sophisticated line of thought. And in that case, the sort of more simpler steps, it's fine actually to be relying on AI to help you with those things so you can move along in whatever it is that you're engaged in. And so the places that are approaching this in a sophisticated way are sort of saying, sometimes it's the one, and sometimes it's the other. We don't want to have a one size fits all reaction to the role that AI should be playing in the classroom.
Who are the pioneers in these areas that you look up to?
I've been hugely impressed with what I've learned so far about the conversations about this in Denmark with respect to their upper secondary curriculum and sort of they've gone through a recent process and sort of trying to figure out what role AI should play in their national assessments and how they should think about that in relation to their overall curriculum. And it was here that I sort of saw this extremely sophisticated multifaceted reaction to the technology that I thought was really quite an impressive model for what we should be doing as we move forward.
Well, we were recently with a delegation in Japan to see their education system, which is very impressive. And when it came to AI, it was actually uh, thought-provoking because when they said, they have a phrase saying, you need to knock on the bridge before crossing the bridge. So they take it step by step. Probably they have experience with bridges and so forth, but they're doing it very cautiously, which is surprising because we thought maybe such a technological high-end country would move quicker.
The fact of the matter is, we're now in the point of learning how to restructure a lot of the things that we do every day and understanding how technology, how AI can help and how sometimes it's not help.
So now moving into our local perspective, we have tech companies, we have advanced tech in army units, we have strong universities, and we take pride of a vibrant ecosystem of innovation in these areas. How would you recommend for an education system which has such an ecosystem of innovation to learn both from the global efforts that you lead and other countries perform and with our own tech tendency? Would you do anything differently than in other contexts?
I don't know that I would necessarily do anything different. I think it's important for all of us to be playing around with this technology and understanding how, in every context, it either is or is not currently useful. Um, and one of the things that particularly concerns me about sort of the elite end of occupations and the higher education preparation that actually prepares people for the elite end is I'm concerned that companies are going to begin to realize that the technology can do a lot of what entry-level workers in those sorts of occupations do. And that folks who come out of university programs won't understand and be able to fit in to the sorts of positions that are there because the bottom rung will be effectively cut off. And that it will be much harder to see sort of how do you actually start a career if you're not already doing the things that are still difficult for AI to do. I mean, there's there's no substitute for actually at that level to be um, making sure that students who are preparing for advanced careers actually are intimately involved with AI in their particular area and understand what it currently is able to support.
Thank you so much, Stuart, for being with us today. That was very important, and I hope to be able to see you soon, whether in New York, in Paris, or in Tel Aviv.